You know, some people have described travel as actually a spiritual experience. And this week on the Refresh Network, we talked to my good friend Sven Sundgaard. Now, a lot of you here in Minnesota know him from doing the weather on KARE 11, but what you might not know is he is an avid traveler. In fact, 8 years ago, Sven made a commitment to himself to step out of his comfort zone even more and travel the world.
You learn a ton about yourself and just how to navigate the world.
Sven, thank you for sitting down with us.
Absolutely.
Welcoming us into your home. We have the dogs all around. They're pretty much a constant in this home, right?
Yeah, you kind of don't have, oh, here comes another one. This is Petunia.
They're not camera shy, which is awesome. Let's kind of go back to how you got into traveling. What kind of gave you the travel bug?
You know, I went to Europe when I was in high school because I took German class and we had a school trip, and that kind of hooked me. Also, as I finally kind of established myself in my career, there was a big gap where I didn't really travel like I wanted to. And so it was basically 8 years ago where I made a commitment to getting out of my comfort zone and not just going to Europe, but decided to go to the Middle East and travel the Mediterranean all by myself. And you learn so much, you know, traveling alone or even with people, but you got to get outside of your comfort zone and sort of push the limits.
You have traveled so many different places. Are there certain ones that stick out for you, certain experiences overseas for you that really stick out?
Well, I honestly tell people I've never had a bad trip. And I think part of that is your attitude going into it. If you expect to go to another country and you expect it to be the United States or what you're used to or comfortable, then you're going into it probably with a disaster in the making. You have to sort of roll with the punches, and I think for me being Norwegian, American, we tend to be anxious and high-strung. And so it forces you when you're traveling like that to really go with the flow and be like, you know what? Yeah. Let's just see what happens. We'll get there when we get there. Everything will be fine. I think for me, that's what I really learned is to not overthink and get anxious about stuff, because I'm kind of a planner, and you kind of have to be willing to just let things happen. And they always work out. You have to step back and think about what's important. And it forces you to do that, all from a little trip, a little adventure.
What would you say that travel now has added to your life? How has it changed your life?
I can't imagine being sitting in one place for any amount of time. That's one thing. And then you think, well, how is it sustainable to leave the country at least once a year for the rest of your life? Well, you'll find a way. It's a big balance that we have to strike in the United States, I think, especially between our very materialistic, thing-driven world and what really matters, which is experiences. Because you don't remember, you know, that car you had 20 years ago. You remember who was in the car with you and what you did and where you went and all that. So it's really about experiences, and that's what people always think I must be loaded or something. I'm like, no, I have my choices that are important to me. I drive a car that has 212,000 miles on it because I don't want a car payment. I'd rather go on a cool trip.
So people listening to this, they might be hearing all these things about how amazing travel is and all these great benefits of it, but they might be saying, well, gosh, it's so expensive. And then there's that cost factor. How the heck am I ever going to be able to afford it? What do you say to people that are so worried about the cost and that's holding them back from taking that leap?
I would say go through your accounts and look at what you spend money on, and you'll find the money. And you'll realize it's not that expensive. So if we're going to live in a materialistic world where money is a big deal, at least use the material to buy something that you'll remember.
Complete this sentence. The world needs more what?
Understanding. People don't talk to each other enough. And that's part of, you know, we have this stereotype of people in the Middle East, and they have a stereotype of us too. You put them in a room, you know, just like regular people, have some food and everybody chit-chat. Problem solved.
A big thank you to Sven for sitting down with us, and for any of you out there looking to travel more, hopefully this gives you some inspiration and some ideas of how to get started. Be sure to follow the Refresh Network on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Have a great week, and we'll see you soon.